While we're letting people come in and before we start introductions, I see Jennifer's on the phone, but I think what she wants to do is,
Hi, I'm here. I was on the phone with Richard. He's on the way to the office. Do you want me to open up?
yeah, she just wants to update and talk about, as a SBA community navigator, what we've done in anticipation of a conference we attended, some folks we're meeting, what we're planning to do. And we also, just before we start our presentation and just talk about everything that's going on with you, we'll start with the introduction shortly thereafter.
Sure.
But Gwen's gonna talk about the SBA Community Navigator program and what we have been doing thus far and our lineup coming. So Jennifer Atkins, the Interim Executive Director for Chatham Business Association.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Jennifer Atkins, as just stated. So we are a Community Navigator Hub. This is a pilot program, as you may know, that the SBA has started this year. And we were 1 out of 700 that made it to this level. So we're really proud that we're serving not only Chicago, but regionally. Everybody's calling on us because not only did we make that, but they're also directing them to our offices. So we're getting calls from near and wide for help as a community navigator. So we met with the SBA yesterday, just in our offices, and they met with our spokes. We have 5 spokes. Spokes, if you're on the call, please put your information in the chat. And we're hitting the ground running. The phones are ringing and we are on the phone, on calls, helping businesses from recovery grants to certifications to buying real estate, all through the community navigator. They're sending people our way. So I'm really excited about this. It's a 2-year program. And so we're helping even more businesses as a community navigator, as a hub. We have a speaker today. So as a community navigator, we recently went to Washington, D.C. We went to the United States, the U.S. Black Chambers National Conference. And like I said, that was in DC. And we met a host of federal agencies and their heads. We learned a lot. In fact, the speaker that was on tap today.
Jennifer, he's on the call. You see him?
John is here. Okay, great. His name is John Templeton. I'll let Gwen give his bio in a little bit, but just to kind of quickly wrap this up, John Templeton is our speaker today. And we have a host of other federal agencies that are on tap to speak to us before the year is over. We have the GSA, they're coming in November. We also have HUD and a few other people too. So we'll keep you posted on that. And so today's speaker is John Templeton, and Gwen, I will pass it over to you.
And just in case, I think I know Gwen is in the process.
I think she's en route. Yeah.
En route. So we can start with. So Gwen, we're ready for intros.
Okay. All right. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Good. It's hard to tell when you're driving. Good morning, everyone. I'm Gwen Shaw. I'm board secretary, and I just wanted to say thank you for joining us again for the monthly membership meeting of the Chatham Business Association. As you can hear, I'm en route to my office right now, but I just wanted to start the meeting off. Thank you, Jennifer, for giving that intro, giving that information about what Chatham Business Association is doing to help bring dollars to our business owners. I just want to get the meeting going and do the introductions for, oh my goodness, I can't get my head straight. First of all, let's just take a quick moment, a quick pause, just to say thank you for all of those that have joined us today. It's been a little rough ride coming in on the road. We always start a meeting off with a moment of silence it's been a lot of things going on in the community, as always, in the world itself. Just take a moment of silence just to say thank you, to praise him, whoever you serve. If you don't serve a God, just take a deep breath as I park right now. Thank God for making it to the office. So we want to get to know you and see who you are. Let us know what brought you to the meeting today, who you are real quickly. Start with the introductions. This is something we do every single meeting. So give us a couple of seconds of who you are and whether or not you're a Chatham Business Association member. And I can't see anybody. Let me see. Okay, thank you.
I see a Canara Tatum. You want to unmute yourself and tell us your business and introduce yourself? Canara, you're still muted. Okay, I'm gonna come back to you. What about Robin Owens? Can you unmute yourself and introduce yourself? Can you all hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you, Melinda.
Yes.
Okay. Veronica, can you unmute yourself and introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Good morning. Good to see you. Been a long time. So I'm Veronica Clark, and I'm the CEO of Tca Health Center. We do have a health center. This is a primary healthcare center, federally qualified community health center in Chatham, located at 8425 Cottage Grove. Our main site is in Otgill or adjacent to the Otgill Murray homes. We're opening up a site in Higwich, but I logged on this morning because it's been a while for me, and you guys have so many interesting things going on, and I've been meaning to really participate more, but as you all know, we've all been really, really busy. So I'm really happy to be here, and good to see you again, Melinda. And I see Carl Riley and some more wonderful people. Hi, Carl.
Great to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
Canara,
you.
can you unmute yourself or not yet? You're talking, but you're still muted. I'll come back to you. Felix, can you unmute yourself and talk?
Hello, am I unmuted now?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, you are, Canara. Okay, hold on 1 second, Felix. Okay, thank you.
Okay, good morning. I'm new at this. I'm going up to the Walmart Center so they can help me with, I had to run over to my granddaughter's house so she can help me with this. I'm Canara Tatum. I'm on property at 79, 33, 35, 37, 41, 43, 47 West 79th Street. I've been in the neighborhood since 1980, and I'm interested in joining and being in this meeting. I haven't been. I know they're building, I think, 46 unit building right next to me on Halsted. So I said, let me learn as much as I can learn about this. So I don't know if I'm a member or not, but I would like to be a member and continue to join, to see what's going on in the neighborhood.
Wonderful. So Canara, what we do, we have your email too, but we'll reach out to you. We understand about this technology piece, so we can also give you our phone number and email, because believe me, we understand. But thank you for joining us.
Yeah, if I have a couple, and I got Beverly's and a couple more, I have their numbers. So I'm just glad that my granddaughter, I said, you got to show me how to do this. I got to start doing this. So I'm glad to be in the meeting and learn what's available and what I need to do, to be in the neighborhood, to do what I can for the growing of the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you for joining us. Felix? Lachey, can you unmute yourself and introduce yourself?
Yes, ma'am, I sure can. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
All right, Chatham is my foundation, Felix Lachey with Bermuda Coffee and Bermuda Fresh. We are soon to open a small grocery store in South Shore. Chatham gave me all the resources I needed to springboard my businesses when I transitioned from corporate America. And that's why I'm here. I'm not sure if my membership is up to date. I'm sure somebody's tapping that in right now, Jennifer. But
Okay, good.
yeah, but I will make sure that we are up to date. But I'm very, very happy to attend this morning meetings and learn a lot about how we can grow.
So just a reminder too, as a SBA community navigator for that funding, we have waived the membership for our business members because it's the program is meant to target and do the one-on-one that we've been helping everybody with the recovery grants and everything else. So thanks to the SBA community navigator, and we're gonna have to figure out how to have the membership thank them. We did not do the membership. We're adding you in as a member and the services are complimentary. Our goal is just to make sure that you grow. That's what they want, and make sure you tap into the resources.
Thank you.
Kim New, can you unmute yourself? And then Jennifer, you let me know when you're ready. But Kim, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, good morning. All, my name is Kim New. I'm the community liaison for Cook County State's Attorney Kimberly M. Fox. I'm assigned to the Community Justice Center South. We are not a member, but we are family. Our role is to support businesses and community organizations alike to resolve problems with crime, in addition to any other concerns. I'll drop my info in the chat. How are you, Melinda?
How are you, Kim? Thank you for joining.
I'm
You are
good.
a family member. You know,
Thank you.
Kim, on behalf of the State's Attorney's Office, has been very helpful. As business owners, we recognize there's complex issues, things that happen in your family that might interrupt your ability to focus on your business. So she's been very resourceful. So feel free to reach out to one of us and we can help you field information as well as connect you to Kim if needed.
Thank you,
Frida,
Melinda.
can you unmute yourself and introduce yourself? One of our very favorite ComEd alternative energy cohorts doing awesome things in the community.
Right. Hello, everyone. I'm Frida Madison, and my husband is here, Kevin Madison, and we own Madison Enterprises Incorporated. We're real estate investors, property managers, general contractors, and rehab and development. And we are members. And also we did attend that cohort for the energy. Thank you.
Thank you. Ted Hollander, can you unmute yourself?
Great morning, everybody. My name is Ted Hollander. I'm a member of 95th Street Business Association and ACES Business Network Affair, so this is outreach for me. My business is Complus Incorporated. We are professional controllers. We lead accounting departments for small companies. We look for companies when they are too big for the owner to run with just a checkbook and too small to hire a full-time chief financial officer.
Thank you.
From a technology point of view, I've been doing this technology since the 1960s, and I don't want to go back to that. This is much better than we used to have then. So if anybody needs any help with that, talk to me. I've been there and I don't want to go back. So, anyway, you always pay for good accounting one way or another.
Or the other.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Can we ask everyone to mute their phones, to mute themselves?
Ari, can you come show me how to mute myself?
Classic.
And then Robin, I see you said you cannot unmute yourself. So there's a microphone button, but if you want to just put your
I'm sorry.
information in, there you go.
Actually
You're
just able to
unmuted.
do it. I had to go through the settings. So my name is Robin Owens. I own Full Blossom Florist. I'm actually not a member, but I've done things with you guys in the past. I was born and raised in the community. Also, my business in the community. I work from home right now, and I just wanted to start being more of a part of things that was going on within the community that I serve. So I'm looking forward to trying to start being an active participant in CBA.
Okay.
So Robin, as I mentioned before, you are a member now, thanks to the SBA Community Navigator Program, who is making sure that we don't let membership dues as we get back to business and recovery and bring you these resources. So you are a member, you need to reach out to us and let us, help put we call it a marriage, our plan into place with you. So do that. Start with Beverly and we'll go from there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Ms. Cynthia Love, will you unmute yourself and introduce yourself?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. This is Cynthia Love from More Life Realty Group. And also I'm the president of Block by Block of Auburn Gresham. I am a full service real estate company, primarily working all over the state of Illinois. However, a lot of my concentrated sales have been, excuse me, in Auburn Gresham, helping business owners or people find commercial property as well as residential property as a result of the great things that are happening over in Auburn Gresham. So I'm glad to be here. I'll put my information on the chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you.
We have one of our very coveted SSA commissioners who helps do so much work in the community and is part of our leadership with CBA. Mr. Clarence Glover, will you unmute yourself and introduce yourself? Clarence, is he frozen? I think he's frozen because that face has not changed. So I'm going to come back to you. Let me also start with our board of directors members. So, and I think I lost Clarence, or I think he lost us. Let me start with our wonderful board of directors and our really, you know, we just got the SBA community navigators, but what we have had all the time is these corporations who we've had access to. So if you've done work with us or we've done work on your behalf, you know, as we go through this, we are inundated. The city's given out a lot of money. They gave out billions last month. They announced it at the meeting. Canara, I hope you are applying for the recovery grant, the NOF. All of that closes August 19th. As you know, it is a grant. The grants we've been we worked on Batters and Berries on the west side. They got 1.9 million. We're working with other businesses in the south side who got 2.7 million, but now you got to prove up and we've got to do the financials and get the work done. And how are we doing that? We do it with our board of directors and who are a great resources and financial partners. So I'm going to have, I saw Sean Boone here, but let me start with Carl Riley. Carl, can you unmute yourself and introduce yourself?
Good morning, guys. My name is Carl Riley. I'm a business banker with Fifth Third Bank. I support the community, South Side mostly, do stuff on the West Side and some stuff in the suburbs, but mostly South Side. And what I specialize in is helping like businesses that create jobs, buy their building equipment, lines of credit, stuff like that. I can go up to about 13 million. And I've used SBA 504 and 7A programs to help people. I've also helped people buy their buildings 100% financed, as long as they're 51% of the space, using SBA Express up to $500,000. So it's just, you know, if you need something, you have a question, you have a concern, you want to talk about your business, I left my information in the chat. Just reach out, send me a text or give me a call. And then I can point you, if it's not me, I can point you in the right direction as far as who might be able to support your goal. So thanks a lot.
Thanks. Carl, I see you back. I mean, Clarence, I see you back. Can you, oh, he unmuted himself. Now he's gone again. Sean, are you still, wait, I don't see Sean. Am I cutting people off or they're getting cut off? Okay. Gwen, can I turn it back over to you? Who is also
introduce me?
one of our, I know, I just thought about, let me do this here. So first of all, Gwen Shaw with Country Financial, you know, honestly, when I came 15 years ago, Country Financial, amongst many corporations, but they were so supportive. They were trying to, it was a good partnership because they were trying to increase their market share in the southern region. And they were really struggling with it because it's an insurance company that was started by farmers. They had top of the line products, but they just didn't have the relationship with the community. And the two smart things they did is they chose Chatham, and then they really introduced us and brought Gwen Shaw on board as part of their leadership. So not only did she, I want to say, single-handedly increase market share in the market for Country Financial, she makes sure that our businesses are not underinsured or that they need help. You know, we had a lot of challenges after COVID and people really learning if their insurance companies really supported them or not. She really did workshops and education. She's the first Black woman on that who leads a country financial corporate office here on the South Side. She continues to grow and we love her so much. And she's always at the membership leading, and you know, she's always available. So I will introduce our moderator, Ms. Gwendolyn Shaw.
Oh my God. I have nothing else to say. Thank you so much, Melinda. First of all, it's been a pleasure serving the Chatham Business Association, the Chatham community, Chicago land in general. It's been a pleasure. What I do is I mean, I enjoy what I do and I enjoy helping people. And I thank CBA for all of the opportunities to help so many people. But I'm just really grateful for that, because I think it has made a big difference. I'm now settled in my office. I think I got my head together. I want to bring to you our speaker for today. Just give me one moment here.
Gwen, while you're doing that, Clarence, I see you're on and unmuted. Do you want to introduce yourself? Mr. Glover?
Oh, Clarence, I'm so sorry. We did miss you.
I think he says he's unmuted, but I don't hear him.
He'll get unmuted. It takes him a minute.
Okay. And also, while you're doing this, Gwen, I would be remiss if I did not. I want our staff to just chime in and say hello. We wouldn't be able to do this. We're doing 3 and 4 consultations a week. We're getting these grants. We're getting these business loans. We're working with the banks. And I want them to say hello all at once, from Lorinda to Charles to Beverly to Gloria. Hopefully I'm not missing anybody. Can you all chime in and say good morning and hello?
Good morning, everybody. I hope you all are having a good day.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
And then Gwen,
Okay.
when you're ready.
I was waiting on Clarence.
He's unmuted, but he's not speaking. So Clarence Cover is with Majestic Florist in the community. He owns real estate there. He's a SSA commissioner. He works with us. You know, one of our famous claim to fame is during the riots. Clarence was right outside in the corridor, defending the community. So he can't speak, but he's on here, and we so appreciate his service.
Okay. Somebody has their phone, their speaker unmuted too. Is everybody muted? Okay, great. All righty then. A little technical difficulties this morning. Thank you, Melinda, for filling in for me. I appreciate it. But without further ado, we want to bring to you our speaker today, Mr. John William Templeton. For 50 years, he's been one of the most respected journalists and scientists examining the African-American experience. The first African-American editor of a business newspaper at the San Jose Business Journal in Silicon Valley brings his insights about the formation of capital to the consummation of the promised land for African-Americans that advocates like Isaac Myers sought when he pushed for the 14th Amendment, the foundation of modern America. Since 2004, he's published the annual State of Black Business to give a data source that empowers Black communities to bring the 14th Amendment's equal protection of the law to monetary and fiscal policy. In 2014, he developed our 10 plan, the African American Economic Strategy to achieve a 10% share of gross domestic product, which would mean an $800 billion increase in annual income. As chair of the Central Brooklyn Economic Development Corporation, he is implementing the plan with the OWN Brownsville Initiative for the densest population of African Americans in the nation. In San Francisco, he has launched the Dr. T. Nathaniel Burbridge Center for Inclusive Innovation to underscore the important role of African-American doctors in neighborhood formation and stability, particularly HBCU alumni. He's also a trustee of Stillman College in Tuscaloosa, is, I think, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, a science-focused campus preparing students for life science careers. The monthly Journal of Black Innovative tracks the success stories of African Americans in economy and technology, as well as his daily online newspaper, blackmoney.com, published since 1995. Reunion is, should I read this? You know what? I'm not going to read that. But I bring to you Mr. John William Templeton. Mr. Templeton, you have the floor.
Good morning, everybody.
Good
It was so
morning.
great to meet you first, because it's always great to know who I am speaking to. I was particularly interested in the federally qualified health center, which kind of relates to some of the things that I'll talk about today. And I was also intrigued by the flower owner, because I think that is definitely an opportunity in all our communities to bring more greenery to our communities. So I want to applaud all of you for being in business and for being in business after the pandemic. In the beginning of Down But Not Out, State of Black Business, we talk about the fact that 70% of African-American businesses said they were affected by the pandemic. And so it's very important that those who have come through that trial are supported and honored. One of the things that has been very important is that we changed policy between 2020 and 2021. As I mentioned at the US Black Chambers, in 2020, only 500 million went in PPP loans to African-American businesses. Probably only fewer than 15,000 Black businesses got PPP loans. Because of the changes, and because we brought that to attention of the Congressional Black Caucus and with folks like Ron Busby and Mark Morial, we're able to change it so that the SBA was doing direct lending. And in 2021, 16 billion in PPP loans went to African-American firms. That's a 30-fold increase just because we are able to own our own data. So it's important to have organizations like a Chatham Business Association being on the front line and making sure that you are able to do fundamental changes from the biggest investment in African-American communities in our nation's history. We just saw that the Inflation Reduction Act went through the Senate and should be going through the House pretty soon. We've had the CHIPS and Science Act that Eddie Bernice Johnson was able to make sure that things she'd been fighting for 30 years got included. But I want to sort of put on my hat as a historian first and just sort of talk about who you are and where you are. You're in a city that was founded by a Black business. And so part of the paradigm shift is to really understand the important role of Black businesses. We are critical to the formation of this country. I'm in San Francisco and I put together the African American Freedom Trail. And this is the brochure that we do with San Francisco Travel on 400 African American sites of significance. But one of them is an African American who actually put the city on the map. His name is William Alexander Leidesdorff. He started the Port of San Francisco, built the first hotel, and also started the first public school in California. So all of our cities have this rich, deep legacy of African Americans at their formation, but also African American businesses at their formation. So we need to look at ourselves as folks who have been doing this for three centuries and claim the fruits of our labor. So Chicago is a place where you not only had Jean-Baptiste Dussart, but also Daniel Hale Williams, who's really the father of modern medicine. You have Robert S. Abbott, who basically created the most dominant Black newspaper of the 20th century with the Chicago Defender. And of course, you had John Johnson, who created Ebony and Jet. And even though some of those legacies aren't here anymore, we need to look at the fact that that is our wealth. So in the last 10 years, African-American aggregate income has grown 30%. But during that same period, the gross domestic product has grown 60%. And when we look at the latest unemployment statistics, where we had 500,000 new jobs created, but we still only have a 29% participation rate for Black youth. And so the state's attorney representative, the reason that they are having such a hurdle to climb is directly related to this economic statistic. Put it in perspective, the overall African-American labor participation is 62%. So if we can move this somewhere close to 50%, you have a situation where people can walk to the grocery store in peace. Our businesses don't have to worry about getting broke into and that sort of thing. And so that's why African-American businesses are not something that is just kind of frivolous or something nice to do, but it really relates to the core of our society, because the only people who are going to create those jobs for our youth are Black-owned businesses. So the florist shop, if she's able to grow to 4 or 5 people instead of coming out of her house, then there's 4 or 5 people who aren't in Cook County Jail. The health center is a great jobs creator. And so these are some of the pioneers that we're in the footsteps of in Chicago. And so we really need to kind of rethink, and I like the numbers that Melinda was talking about in terms of grants. They were in the millions. And so we can't grow as a nation, and Chicago has a larger Black population than all but 20 cities in the country. So we can't support that kind of population on chicken feed. So we have to be in the tradition of Chicago, in the tradition of Daniel Hale Williams and Robert S. Abbott and John Johnson. We have to go big. And so our focus during the 19th annual Journal of Black Innovation, National Black Business Month, is really on creating large Black businesses, because as Ron Busby mentioned at US Black Chambers, you know, we've got somewhere around 3 million African Americans who are self-employed, but only 124,000 employ other people. So just increasing that number to 350,000 creates 2 million new jobs. So that 29% labor force participation, if we create 200,000 more African-American companies that have workers, then we take care of our crime problems, we take care of our health care problems. People who are homeless now, you know, will have the sustenance to be able to afford housing. I noticed that there were a number of real estate professionals in the audience. And so I'm sure you're aware that if your tenants don't have good paying careers, then they're not going to be able to afford their rents. And so everybody has an interest in growing African-American companies. So the reason that we've done the State of Black Business Report every year is really to put us back in the situation that African Americans were in the 19th century, where we had a very clear goal. The 14th Amendment was created by Black businesses. Isaac Myers, who worked on the docks in Baltimore, and then after the Civil War, bought the dock and created a shipbuilding company, Chesapeake Bay Marine and Dry Dock Company. And then he organized all the Black dock workers around the Eastern Seaboard. And it was their pressure that caused the United States to create the 14th Amendment. Well, the 14th Amendment is the foundation of our economy because of the full faith and credit clause for public debt. And so all of our financial markets depend on that clause. And before the Civil War, there wasn't even a single currency in the United States. There were no national banks. So all of those things came out of that period between the Emancipation Proclamation and the 14th Amendment. So we need to understand that we are the ones who put this economy on a footing to make America the colossus that it has become. And so we need to understand the importance of how African Americans leveraged a 90% voter turnout coming out of slavery in 1866, 1867, and 1868, and forced Congress and all the state legislatures to pass the 14th Amendment. And so all Americans have citizenship, all Americans have financial liquidity because of African-American businesses. So we don't need to be running around with a tin cup saying, oh, give us $10,000, give us $25,000. We need to say that, there's a million Black folks in Chicago. We need grocery stores, we need flower shops, we need dry cleaners, but most importantly, we need industry. And the problem that has not happened in African-American economic development is that planners, people like Maurice Cox, don't ask, well, where are the Black people going to work? And this is a problem all throughout the country where you have Black communities that are hollowed out because there's been no thought given to where the people are going to work. And in every other facet of economic development, you start with the industry. So let me throw out some examples of some of the industries that would work well in Chicago. So with the rebuilding and renovation of Providence Hospital, there should be an opportunity to generate research, and to follow up on the legacy of Dr. Daniel Hale Williams. So what we're recommending around the country, we're starting it in San Francisco and also in Brooklyn, are life science magnets. And so your FQHC is an important element in that because with the extension of the subsidies for the Affordable Care Act, the one guaranteed thing that you can make money off of in Black communities is healthcare. And healthcare is our largest industry. Nurses are the one Black occupation that's at parity. So our representation of nurses is the same representation as in the labor force. So almost 500,000 Black nurses, and I'm sure there are thousands in Chicago. So those are the people who can really begin to generate businesses, generate employment, and to put our young people on a path toward valuing life as opposed to taking life. About a dozen years ago, we did a life science magnet in one of the more dangerous housing projects in San Francisco, and we pulled kids off the street and took them downtown and put them in a skyscraper and called them doctors and said, "You're public health investigators." And we gave them a lab coat. And in a week's time, you couldn't tell them they weren't doctors. And so it was surprising that they would even wear the lab coats home. And then the parents came down and said, "What are you doing to these kids?" They're never really interested in science or anything like that. So in a place where, the man that invented open heart surgery is from the hospital that he started is still there. We must change the attitude of our children and say, this is the legacy that you should be aspiring to. And so I don't know to the extent to which, you've done a context statement for your community, but every community, every Black community in Chicago should have a context statement. I just presented a National Register nomination for San Francisco to the State Historical Resources Commission last week. So, with the supportive state government you have, you've got 3 African-American constitutional officers, you have an African-American speaker, and at our page on blackbusinessmonth.com, we have a state page for each state so that people can begin to draw the connections between things like the state small business credit initiative, which is billions of dollars coming into Illinois, and some of it is venture money. So some of it isn't loans. USDA rural development, and one of the things that we're really focusing on are the manufacturing extension centers, because the government will give you the tools, will give you the professional support to go into manufacturing. We only have 1,000 African-American manufacturers in the whole country. So we found out during the pandemic that if there's not enough food to go around, white people are gonna keep it for themselves. If there's not enough vaccine to go around, white folks are gonna keep it for themselves. So we can't continue to be in a situation where we are completely dependent on external sources for the things that we need. So one of our proposals nationally is to make sure that Black businesses are engaged to create the strategic materials that we need for our society. COVID isn't going to be the last pandemic. We have wildfires, all kinds of climate change emergencies happening. So supply chains are going to be disrupted on a constant basis. So we need to make sure that our communities have the ability to sustain themselves. I mean, we can't hope that white folks are going to send us food. It doesn't make sense. And so everybody needs to be focused on what are the key elements that our community needs. One of the people we follow and have met personally is the most successful banker in Nigeria, Tony Elumelu. And he has the Tony Elumelu Foundation, and he's created a doctrine called Afro-capitalism. And he gives out, about 10,000 grants of $10,000 a piece every year. About 60,000 people apply from across Africa, from 50 countries for it. And he's not trying to get people to become the next Google. He's just, give me a proposal to supply a basic need in your community. And in a lot of places, that $10,000 is more than enough to put together everything that they need. But there's also a community that they've created where people can share information. And I'll actually be attending there's a summit between the African Union and the Caribbean community, September 1st through the 3rd in Barbados. And so for the first time, African businesses and Caribbean businesses are going to be joining forces. And so African-American businesses need to be part of that. And so, but first we gotta make sure that we're taking care of ourselves before we can begin to meet the needs of other countries. So as I'll sort of close and just say, the Chicago way is to go big. If Robert S. Abbott could create a daily newspaper, go national, if John Johnson could do what he did, if George Johnson could do what he did, if Barack Obama could do what he did from Chicago. Nobody in a city that was created by a Black business should be satisfied with just getting by. So we're available to help, and our resources are at blackbusinessmonth.com. I'll put it in the chat. And I guess I can take any questions anybody might have.
So first of all, before we take some questions, and there are some, thank you, Mr. Templeton. As you can see, one of the reasons why we brought him to Chicago is that what we recognized when we went after the SBA grant, one of the reasons we went after it is that, sometimes we have our head down here in Chicago, but there are national issues that are going on and influencers that we need to be, as a business community, we need to be a part of the conversation. The other reason we went after the SBA Community Navigator Grant is that those infrastructure dollars, a lot of it is coming in electric vehicles. And as we have brought to the leadership's attention, the two largest manufacturers of the batteries, the cars, are right here in Illinois. And we need to be included in the participation of it. Right now, we're not. So, with the modernization of the highways, and as well as everything, the state of Illinois has really been forward in the alternative energy space. So that's why we've talked to our utility companies about participating to be what we call business interrupters. What does that mean? It means that we may not be ready, but through joint partnerships, during these certifications, during us being a navigator, we can get businesses engaged on some level, regionally as well as nationally. And as Mr. Templeton brought out, also internationally. So he is a publisher, and I think, Jennifer, did you put his information in the chat? We need to make sure that you have access to his work. And then what I'm going to do is read some of these. Can you see them, Gwen? The questions, or do you need me to do it?
Well, if you'd like, I can talk about context statement.
Okay.
And for instance, in San Francisco, we have 5 organizations that were founded in 1852 that were part of the Underground Railroad. None of them were national landmarks. You may have seen about Bill Russell passing. Bill Russell, Willie Mays, and Maya Angelou all got the National Medal of Freedom on the same day from Obama in 2011, all from San Francisco. None of them are recognized with national landmarks. So San Francisco had never had a Black National Register site. And so I am assuming that most of the communities in Chicago don't have National Register sites, although the history, the warmth of other sons, of the Great Migration is very rich. And so what National Register sites do is they attract tourism. They also stabilize neighborhoods because you get federal tax credits for historic sites, and you also have some loan programs. And so the trick that has happened in gentrification is that planning departments don't make Black communities historic. So communities decline, then others come in and purchase the buildings. Then those people apply for the National Register sites and they get the tax credits. And so they get this windfall from buildings that, were nurtured by Black folks for 100 years. And then somebody from outside comes in and they get a historic site out of it. I noticed that Johnson Publishing Building, I guess that was lost when they went bankrupt. So, the pictures wind up going to the Getty Foundation. But if we use the preservation laws, then we can turn those communities into tourism magnets, and that generates traffic that supports our businesses. So part of our recommendation during National Black Business Month, I did a presentation this past Saturday, is for every Black community to get a context statement done. And we have a group of African-American preservation professionals from Tuskegee and Prairie View and other top universities around the country that can help communities to do that. And what happens is that typically rich people apply for National Register sites because it's expensive and you have to pay consultants. I'm a National Park Service subject matter expert on African-American history. So I'm one of the people who can write context statements, but you have to be what's on the Secretary of Interior's qualifications just to be able to do that. So, and so most Black communities don't have access to those people. So one of the things that we're kind of talking about is letting people know that there are Black people like that, who have the expertise and who can do that. In 1979, I lived in Richmond, Virginia, and we got a National Register site for Maggie Walker, who was the first Black woman to open a bank. And then we expanded it to be the Jackson Ward National Historic District, which is the largest Black business district in the country that's a National Historic District. And then in '87, I moved to California. So my son's still there. And back in 2017, I was speaking at Hampton University. So I, came through Richmond and we went back to our old house. And my son says, it looks just like it did when we lived here. And he was 3 years old then. So I looked around, I said, yeah, it does. Now look, still Black community. They created Virginia Black History Museum. And so 40 years later, the community that we had preserved was still there because we had made it a national historic district. And despite the fact that Virginia Union University was right next to it, fast growing university, but still that Black community was able to sustain itself over the last 40 years. So So part of the benefit of being old is you can look back and see not only the mistakes you made, but the actual successes that we've had. And so I personally know that if a Black community takes the steps to preserve its history, in fact, for the state's attorney, I'll give you a tip that we stopped a gang war in San Francisco back in 2007 because we went to all the shot callers and showed them the famous Black people that their developments were named after and did sort of a history lesson for them. And so they took pride in where they lived as opposed to trying to tear it down. So if you want to stop, your urban violence, don't hire more cops, bring in historians.
That's awesome. We might need to work with you, Mr. Templeton. I'm sure you're familiar with Chatham as one of the historic treasures, the highest home ownership. It was started by Blacks. A lot of the Tuskegee Airmen settled here. It produced Dempsey Travis's, a lot of the Mahalia Jackson lived here. We have great tourism, and believe it or not, we're not on the map. We got off the map, and we've been fighting to get back on the map here, on the tourism map, because we feel we can bring that to Chicago probably in a better way than most. Even if you, a lot of the civil rights initiatives went through some of the historic churches that are still in existence today. Chatham was where Barack Obama came because the businessmen were here, and they followed the model of Mr. Johnson, who, when he had the magazines and became successful, he recognized the importance of financially supporting those who were fighting for the Black community and the rights. So we may need to engage you to help us establish one here in Illinois, specifically focusing on Chatham.
I'm sure if you asked our average hardhead on the street who Robert S. Abbott was, they wouldn't have the slightest idea. They might know who John Johnson was, but I doubt that. And so the people in Chicago are just so amazing that it's better than Wakanda for our kids, because this is real stuff. And the other thing about it is, they're actually related to these people. These are their grandparents, and so they'll be amazed to see what their forefathers have done. So our reunion network, we've got a 30-part series on the 13th Amendment, on the 14th Amendment, on the 15th Amendment, that breaks down every state that ratified those amendments. And Illinois, you may not know, was the first state to ratify the 13th Amendment, and actually had the state legislature waiting on the telegram, so that immediately after Congress passed it, Illinois wanted to be the first to ratify the 13th Amendment. So there's a real long history of the Underground Railroad, really back to the beginning of Illinois.
And John, it's funny you should mention that. We have a huge metro project coming here on Auburn Gresham, which is just west of Chatham. And we were mentioning that they were talking about all the major one rails are also uncrossing. It's called a CREATE project. And what we were discussing, the railroads and everyone was talking about the graffiti. How do we do it? How do we combat it? What do we do? And we talked about that. We said if we did the Underground Railroad theme as a form of art and had the community involved, it may help to make sure that anything attached to the project, because they've got to build these retaining walls, how do you keep those as more as an attraction to the community, as opposed to turning it into graffiti filled unattractive things. So that concept you have, we're really going to have to work with you to bring it here to Chicago. And before I got cut off, what I was saying is that we are forced, and I'm literally saying forced, on a city, county, and state level to deal with nonviolence. I mean, there's funding available, but we're literally, it's a push here in Chicago. So we might also need to partner with you and reach out to use some of those funds to maybe have a more holistic collaborative, because I mean, we have ideas. We've got the airport, we've got our community colleges who have actually airports, or airplanes on campus, and we want to expose people to it, but we also are really competing with an independent economy that I think if we put in that connectivity that you talked about, the pride, the connection, it'll help them make the decision to be part of the pro economy as opposed to the independent economy. So
no, we told the kids in Potrero Hill, you're already in the drug business, so you're halfway there. So we just, and out of the 11 kids in that program, 10 are still in science.
Oh wow. Okay.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
So your average Black kid is dealing with trigonometry, with chemistry, all kinds of stuff, but they don't realize it. And so when you say, okay, well, you can do the same thing and you can do it over University of Chicago, then it's like a light opens up for them. And we talk about the legacy. So what I've been envisioning, and I really haven't had a chance to talk to anybody in Chicago, is something similar to what we're doing in San Francisco with the Burbridge Center, where the first Black doctor at UCSF, we're creating a center in the middle of the Black community to bring in Black doctors. So same thing we would like to do next to Providence, because the industrial engines for cities are teaching hospitals.
Mm-hmm.
So all of the major teaching hospitals in the country are adjacent to Black communities, but the Black communities don't benefit from them. And they don't even have good healthcare. So we need to take a place like Providence and put the research next to it and work with Malcolm X and city colleges so that, Northwestern and University of Chicago aren't raking in all the money for health equity, but not delivering anything for it. But, because you have the FQHC, then you can start to put the research around that, because what we found is that every Black body is a gold mine from a healthcare perspective, and the just like Henrietta Lacks, the genetic markers that people accumulate in a neighborhood like this are valuable, and so by doing the research.
Well, John, everybody may not know who that is, though, but the cancer patient
was a Black woman in Baltimore who died, but her cells are still alive
to this day.
Yeah. So billions of dollars have been made off of her cells on cancer research. So basically, every cancer researcher in the country uses her cell line, but her family didn't make anything off of it. So, but the principle is, if this is the case, then you have a place like your FQHC and say, okay, well, we're going to commercialize our cell lines, and find out what people are doing, and then researchers have to bid to use our registry.
There you go.
We're doing it in Hunters Point, where we have a Navy shipyard that did nuclear waste. So we've now created the Hunters Point biomonitoring program. So now we control the registry. You know,
Yeah.
so if every Black community does a registry and, you know, puts the proceeds back into the community, you know, you get it working right, people don't even have to pay for healthcare anymore, because all you gotta do is just come in and do a checkup once a year.
So John, we appreciate you so much. And as you know, one of the reasons we wanted to bring you is now we hope to work with you as an organization. You know, the founder, one of the founders, is a few founders, but one of them who was also my mentor was Mr. Garth, who had the Citizen newspaper, was a business owner here.
Yes.
You know, who founded Chatham Business Association. So, you know, when you're connected to the legacy, you're respected so much, you know what these businessmen meant to you know, 50 years ago. CBA is 50 years old, of which we're still walking on their shoulders. And I think we're still lifting up the community despite COVID and other national pandemics. But part of that is that it is rested on the spirit of independent entrepreneurship and knowing our history and knowing our values. So that's why we invited you here, because we appreciate that you can help us materialize it, to be quite honest, especially with what's going on here in Chicago. So,
And we,
you know,
we
this
actually
is
need to be ashamed that we haven't done more with the foundation that they gave us, because over the last 50 years, we have skyrocketed individually, and we've let all our institutions decline.
Right.
And it's the institutions that are most important. And so we have to, you know, recalibrate and make sure that our institutions are doing well, so that all of us are lifted and not just a few.
So again, I don't want to hold you all past your time. And Mr. Templeton, we appreciate you so much presenting. Jennifer, we thank you for bringing this quality presentation to the membership. We're going to start meeting in person in October at the illustrious Discover Center here in Illinois, formerly the Target store. So fortunately, we will, you know, if everything is continues to go as well, you know, but we still always have virtual backup, to start meeting in person. And once we start doing that again and having our membership meetings monthly, we really plan to especially use this SBA resources and funding to build the capacity for businesses. That's one of the reasons why CBA focused on this joint venture teaming agreement, TA component of it. Different folks do different things. We can get you certified on every level. We have e-commerce available for you, but we're really going to have to, in a very short period of time, because the window is here. They know that they recognize that they need us to turn the community, the quality of life around. So I think as Black folks, we are very resourceful, and we know when we can fill a need, but we have to do it together. So we'll be bringing, working with Mr. Templeton, as well as the other speakers we're bringing in the following few months to the business membership. So we will be in touch. Am I missing any? I may be missing some comments, but we'll take comments. This won't be Mr. Templeton's last visit with us. As you heard, he gave us a lot of things that we can start working on together here in Illinois. So with having said that, I think we're gonna adjourn the meeting for now. Mr. Templeton, I can't thank you enough for coming, and you know we will be in touch with you.
Thank you, Mr. Templeton. Good information.
And I forgot to mention, so we did have his website, but what we will do, Mr. Templeton, is put your website as well as the literature that you provide for purchase to the membership as well. Okay.
We lose him?
And there's his email in there. So having said that, I think I'm going to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you.
Vernon, I saw you did join us late. You didn't get a chance to introduce yourself. Did you want to do that, Vernon?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Baron Gates. I've been in contact with the Chamber of Commerce in the last 30 days, and I'm looking forward to sharing all the things that I have in terms of business that I do, as well as benefiting from all of the work that you guys have been doing in the last 50 years, to say the least. That's it.
Thank you.
And Veron, what is your business?
I'm in the printing industry. We do printing of all sorts, stationery printing, banner printing. I have a print company in Chicago.
Oh, great. We need you desperately. Okay.
I'm here for it. Thank you.
Okay. And Robin, did you get a chance to unmute yourself? Did you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, remember I spoke already with you guys.
Oh, you did. Right. You're with the, okay. Okay. All right. So I think we got everybody that did. So having said that, we're going to adjourn the meeting, and we encourage you to join us. When is the next meeting? It's Tuesday, September is the second Tuesday.
Yep. It's September
13th.
Yep, September 13th. That will be the Cook County Land Bank president. She's going to be talking about all the properties that you can buy.
Yes, and what they're supposed to do to help us clear some of the, lifting the titles and things like that, that we really,
Clearing title.
as we're getting money to purchase this real estate and the property where a lot of these businesses reside, sometimes it gets really encumbered if there's a lot of fines and things on there. So we are really trying to work with the Cook County Land Bank to use this piece of legislation to do what it is supposed to do, so that we can clear title, because you really can't have wealth as business owners if we are not purchasing this property, which is why we have been working diligently to get all these applications in for the next round, August 19th. Help you get that information in, work with us, apply for the money. If you don't get it this round, do it the next round. This is an election year. And one of the reasons these things are coming to fruition, we put those applications in over a year ago, is because that is the time. Know the time you're in, and let's capitalize it on it. Let's put the applications in and let us advocate for you. I see we got Gwen back. So Gwen, I was just going to adjourn it unless you have something else to say.
No, I don't have anything, Melinda.
Okay. So thank you all for joining us. Let me one more time. I see Sean might be getting in. Let him say, Sean. Sean, you want to unmute yourself? Yeah, we lost you. Sean with PNC Bank, another board member.
Hey, how
Want to
are
say
you?
hello?
Hey,
sorry you missed it.
Yeah, no, I was in the beginning, but I had to jump off and do another conference call. So just wanted to pop back in and see if you guys were here.
Yeah.
To all that I haven't met, Sean Boone from PNC Bank, and I'm on the board. So hello to all the faces that I've seen before.
Thank you, Sean, for joining us.
No, not a problem.
Okay. So Canara, everybody else, Robin, we should be in contact with you very shortly, right?
Yes, yes, thank you, yes.
Okay. Thank you guys for spending part of your busy week with us. We know how precious time is, and we always appreciate your partnership with CBA. Bye, Mr. Templeton. You stay safe. Okay.
Bye.